to keep kids, let them know that we are open and enrolling as of at right now. So, anyway, that's my one personal plug. Public comments.
Is it adult daycare? I may need a place to go.
We'll give, and you get a discount for being a former board member, Al.
Oh, okay.
All right, anything, oh, that's city administration remarks. Nothing? Public comments? No comment, Paul? You're just here to watch? All right.
Good job.
All right, public hearing about the 3 EDC type B board projects. Mr. Battle, is that you?
Sure. This is part 2 of our public hearing. We had the first one, and then we had to have, Holly, what was it, 30 days? 31 days, something like that, for the second reading. Yeah, and so basically, last time we discussed to provide funds for the purchase and installation of pickleball courts, and those are, you see, to provide funds and purchase of electronic signs, and then the security devices at city parks. So we've had that go through B. We have done, and we've had it go through council, and we've done the public posting, and so now we have to have a public hearing, and then once that's done, item 6A is to consider a resolution to move that back forward through city council for the second reading.
All right, any public comments or board comments from the proposition?
Sir, you have to open the public hearing. Call the time.
Oh, I wrote it down here, 3:33, sorry. Public hearing opened at 3:33, so any comments? Ms. Parrish?
Mayor Lisa Parrish. I reside at 204 East Oakdale in Keene. I just wanted to approach the board. This came before council to approve the amount for I want to talk specifically about the security systems at the city parks. This came before council, and the information that was provided to us was a single company called Link Automation. And I just wanted to let the board know that after that public meeting that we had, I did some research on that company, and I found some issues with it in order for us to not be able to do business with it. And I wanted to make sure that this board was aware of those issues going forward so they can make the right decision in the best interest of the citizens. But just to give you a quick excerpt, but I've given this information to Mr. Batla. I have 46 pages of research that I did on this company. But the 2 giant red flags is currently this company is not licensed under the Texas Private Security Bureau as an alarm company, which means that the city cannot do business with them because they're not licensed. They do not hold a license, and they have to by state law. And that's the first very big red flag that I found. On the meeting that council approved it, that was May the 2nd, and apparently their license expired April 30, right before it came before council, but we were not aware of that when we made our decision to approve it. And I have been checking on it ever since, and it is still expired even today. So they have not renewed it. So that's the first red flag that you need to be aware of with Link Automation. They're not actually licensed as Link Automation. It's actually under TOPS as Link Integrated Systems is the name that it's actually licensed under, but it's an expired license. And then the person that wrote that proposal for us, his name was Addison Heddens. Under the Top Security Bureau, he's listed as Addison Wesley Heddens. And just so you also know, my second red flag is the person that wrote the proposal that gave us the cost that kind of set the bar that we were going to spend only $42,000 and be able to get what we wanted at the park done. He is not an employee of Link Integrated Systems. He's not licensed as an employee. He's not licensed as a salesman, a sales consultant, a city manager. He has to hold one of those licenses in order to be able to be qualified to even write that proposal for us. So that's red flag number 2. And I can tell you this from experience. I am the CEO, a former CEO and a CFO and a corporate secretary for an alarm security company. And this is what I did. I had to get our company licensed. And my husband is also here, and he can also validate that this is the state law procedure. You have to be licensed as a company. The employees that work for you have to be licensed in some capacity. And so the two people that are listed on the proposal that we were presented as council, the company itself not licensed, the salesman not licensed. So right there, that tells me that I can't give any validity to that proposal, that it's accurate, that that guy knew what he was writing up, that he knew that he was giving us the right parts. I did further research to find out more information about that company. The company's actual owner name is Jacob Gustanis. Jacob Gustanis, in the past 14 years, has opened up 11 limited liability companies, and 7 of them are still active. So that was my third red flag. The owner of that company that's no longer licensed, he does other companies too. So it sounds like he's just starting up a lot of limited liability companies, which are very expensive to do. It's not easy to do that. And why you would start them up over and over again, and then some of them you abandon, and then some you don't, I don't know. But anyways, it's not somebody that I recommend that this council or this city board can do business with. So I just want to talk about that. You are going to be presented with a second revised another proposal by another company that I've already been talking to Mr. Batla about. I asked him to, when I found out the research on that, and presented to him after our board meeting, I had him look for anybody else that could quote security systems for us. And he did locate one called DFW Security. They are a reputable business. They have been in business for many years. I'm still doing some vetting of that company because the person that is listed as the salesman on here, Keith Horton, I have not been able to find him under the Private Security Bureau as a licensed salesman to work for DFW Security, but I'm still researching that. But he's done 3 revised versions, and it looks like this final version might be what we want. That might be what we want for the city, for the park to be done. Does anybody have any questions?
Any thoughts or comments?
Well, I own multiple limited liability
Okay.
companies, and that doesn't mean that I'm fraudulent. So, I mean, a lot of people will delineate their assets in different companies to try
Yeah.
to protect the other ones. It doesn't mean they're slidey or dishonest. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying I would hate for you to judge people based upon you
The
finding
amount of
multiple
LLCs.
LLCs in their name.
Yeah.
That happens every day with multiple companies.
I don't know anything about this gentleman either. I've never met him personally. All I can tell you is what I know from state law, that in order to run a licensed security company and be able to install for anybody, not just cities, but anybody, you have to be licensed, and it's always listed under the TOPS website in the Private Security Bureau,
fine.
and their employees have to be licensed as well. He's not.
I
So
can't-
regardless of what he does in his side businesses, running multiple LLCs, whatever he does, I don't care, but
You-
at this
You
point.
mentioned it. I mean, I'm just.
I did.
Yeah.
I mentioned it because it's a red flag to me that we've got in this proposal that he's gonna give us 10-year warranty on equipment and warranty. I'm thinking of a guy that's been starting LLCs, some of them 2 months apart, and he had a couple of different partners with some of them he did by himself, some under family names. He might not be here in 10 years. So I don't want the city to invest 10 years' worth of warranties and licensing fees for cameras and then not be able to reach this company next month if he goes out of business in
Open-
order to have them service them.
Opening multiple LLCs with multiple partners is not a red flag, not in the least.
But you are right. If they're not licensed, they.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Batler, did you
An
check in on their
unlicensed-
licensing?
Yeah, the very first red flag is the unlicensed
Yeah, I
company.
mean, if it's not licensed, that's a problem, but it could have lapsed and maybe he's renewed it and it hasn't gone through yet. We don't know, but.
I did actually speak with him today, just before this meeting, and he did give me a license number with his DBA and LLC. This is for Link Automation. And I do have the license numbers for DFW as well, so.
So Linked Integrated Systems, or whatever the other name is, he is licensed?
That's what it shows on, he just.
So,
The
Ms. Parrish, how are
proposal-
you getting that he's not licensed?
Because I'm looking up under the Private Security Bureau, under the TOPS website, and when Jacob Gustanis actually did get licensed under his own company, it was in March of this year. The proposal that we were given was dated in November. So he was not actually even an employee listed under TOPS under his own company, so he can't validate a proposal given to us in November.
Well, couldn't he just re-up the proposal now that he's
That's what he-
certified?
That's what he did, yeah. He just
Okay.
sent me the.
That's what he said he was gonna request, yeah.
So as of right now, as far as you know, he's certified and he has re-upped his proposal?
As far as I know, this came in today, May 21st, license number, Link Automation LLC, DBA Weatherford Audio Video, license number, B as in Bravo, 2859430
Now, we asked you when we did this originally, like, how did his name come up? And tell me if I'm wrong, didn't you say we were doing business with them already, or we'd done some business with them, or? Other
I think
cities, I mean,
Don
huh?
found them with some of their camera features
Yeah.
they had.
Right,
some of
we
their
had,
AI.
we had reached out to several different companies to get different quotes. Most of them wouldn't get back to us. This was one of the companies that did get back to us. And it's actually the company Verdaca who is supplying the materials, and they're the ones that are giving the 10-year warranty.
Because the manufacturer's giving the warranty.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the installation company. They're not warrantying.
Now, did you say that they recommended this company? Is that how you got their name or no?
They're just one of their installers.
Verdaca is one of their installers.
So they do kind
Verdaca is the
of say he's
company.
their installer?
Yes, correct. And at the time of the proposal, they were licensed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not familiar with Verdaca. Verdaca is a big company that sells camera equipment.
Yeah.
They license companies to be authorized dealers for them. That's basically what this is.
Yeah.
I do work with Alarm.com, or I did, until I retired. I was an authorized dealer for Alarm.com.
That's DFW security, right?
Yes, it's security, but that's all that is.
Yeah.
That's authorized, and that's all they're doing.
Mr. Badler?
So both vendors, I don't know if I can walk through this whole process in public hearing or in 6A general. I feel like I probably should in general, but both vendors are approved vendors through Verdaca.
Okay.
So,
Now, one of us is a platinum vendor, correct? They have different
DFW
stages, and
is
it
a
bases on how many times they've actually installed this equipment. So if this board goes forward and they want to go with this other company, Link, I would find out who's licensed for them to work under their company, how many employees they have, because I can't find any records. TOPS no longer lists that on their website, so we don't know how many, if it's a one-man company, if they have a crew. And then I would want to find out how many times have they installed this system.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we're not the guinea pigs for the city of Keene, and they're going to test this out, because I've looked over at the bathrooms and what they're going to be installing, and it is going to be a little bit complex. We need someone that knows what they're doing, that's done it before.
And the DFW one that came back was 2 cameras shorter than, or what?
no, I talked to them today, and they were able to meet and match full bid for full bid. for
Okay.
Virtually the same price, so. And if you do want to see those security devices and those bids, we could go to executive and that on 6A
Okay.
and see those bids. So.
I think
Yeah.
we should.
Do that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so we're going to close the meeting at 3:44. And we're going to load 6A, review and discuss consideration of resolution 2024-449, approving and authorizing 3 EDC Type B projects and their funding. And Mr. Beeson has asked that we go into executive session to look at those contracts.
Yes, I could give you a briefing on how we got to them if you'd like.
Sure.
Yes, we're good.
So, yeah, as the mayor said, she brought some concerns to me on this quote by Link Automation. Since we were in the 30-day posting period, figured, well, it can't hurt to look at another vendor, get another quote. So I did reach out to DFW Security because they are a platinum preferred vendor for the Verdaca systems. And I got a quote from them. It was $12,000 more than our original quote through Link. So I told them thanks, but no thanks. We've already posted in the paper that we cannot, security devices not to exceed, I think it was $42,000. We didn't list the vendor, but $42,000. So we couldn't go over that. I explained that to them and said, thank you. Well, they kept trying and trying, which you have the latest quote, which is
Miraculous.
them. Yeah. So they did come out. I think Don originally met with Link Automation. Did you meet on site?
Yes.
Okay. So I was the one that met on site with DFW Security. They brought their team out to the park. We walked we walked the buildings and spent some pretty fair amount of time looking at that. So that's kind of how that brings us to here. That's the backstory on that.
Good deal. So do we want to go into executive session and look at those contracts?
I think so.
Don't want to vote on them until we can talk about them.
Right. All right, we are going to go into executive session at 3:45. There's something on here I need to
Are
read
these
for that.
contracts in this, they can
Not long enough for pizza.
You get pizza in executive session?
No.
I thought that's what happened.
Yes.
All right, let the record show that we're back in session at 3:54. Regarding 6A, I'll entertain a motion.
For 6A, I'll make a motion that we move resolution number 2024-499, resolution for EDC Type B Board approving the 3 projects as listed with the change of going to DFW security.
Motion made by Mr. Beeson,
Second.
second by Mr. Heinrich. Any more discussion? All those in favor? And it is unanimous, and that is 1, 2, 3, 6-0. All right, thank you. 6B, review and discuss and consider approval of EDC Type B Board minutes from last month. Entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Ms. Schramm,
Second.
is that you, Chuck?
Yes.
Mr. Easley, any more discussion? All those in favor? Passes 6-0. C, EDC Financial Report. Brother Charles. Yes, sir. It seemed like 3 years ago you told me you were retiring. When is your last? I'm glad you're still here, but it sure
Yeah.
seems like a long time. Did you change your mind, or we just haven't
did
got to
change
that
our
time
mind.
yet?
Well, until the city boot me out, I'll be retired. No, but seriously, it'll be August 30th officially.
25 or
2025?
No, this year.
2024?
Yes, sir.
Did you move it back some, or is it just time just
Blue.
No,
flying?
I had.
That was the date all along?
Let the record show, if it's 2025, you have that.
You can definitely hang on another year.
Well, my wife, my boss, they disapprove of the board's decision, the city manager's decision, but
So you have 2 of them? Just kidding.
just one.
All right, tell us about the money.
Absolutely. Thank you. This is for the month of April. Some good news. We are still getting some very good, decent reports from the sales taxes. As you can see, our target is 58.3%, and we, at the end of April, at 57.2%, which is about a thousand or so less than what the target should be. So that's pretty good on that. For the expenditures part, we at 43.5%. End of April, it came to be 113,747, which is well below the target for that. As you know, as we go into the money market, and before I express on that, there will be some adjustments to the money market rates, probably in the latter summer, early fall. Looking at Wall Street and Bloomberg, they both kind of agree that that may happen, the rates. This is predicated because this is an election year across the board. It has some financial impact on that, whether it be favorable or unfavorable. But once again, these are predictions. Our money market is great news with that. We're about $100,000 more than we had in April last year. That's due to portion of it with the increased sales tax and also watching out on our expenditures. We've been very conservative on that approach this past year. Our staff has done a great job in keeping it very conservative. This let us know that we can do other things with that. I'm looking at, right now, we at the 7th month. We'll be close, if the projection goes well, we'll be very close to about 800,000 at the end of the year.
Oh, good.
So that's the end of my April report. I'm ending with great news on that.
Awesome. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Mr. Beeson, need a second?
Second.
Ms. Shram. All those in favor? 6-0. Do we have any other reason to go into executive session? Nope. All right, future items on the agenda.
Years ago, we talked in this board, and we kind of briefly discussed it, but never really did anything about it. A recycling program for the city. Would anybody like that to be looked into? Something this board could take on, a recycling program? I know Alvarado has one. I don't know if Cleburne has one. They do.
Didn't we have one years ago?
No, we never
No,
had.
we just talked about it.
It was like a recycling station where the trash company would leave their big dumpsters for paper and for plastic and for whatever.
I remember that
And the
conversation.
community could bring it there, and then not necessarily making it an each stop at a house kind of recycling program, but would that be anything anybody would be interested in looking into? No, not really.
We had a dumpster at KES for paper. Did we ever have one for plastics?
No.
Yeah. And just paper.
What does it entail? I mean, are you talking about that we get a separate little bin and we have a different,
No, what it would entail, a program like in the city of Keene would be cordon off a place at the Public Works, for lack of a better word, where
like we
our
thought?
trash company would bring, it would be a place where the community could come up and put their glass in one, their plastic in one, their paper in another. And it ends up costing because
Yes.
it doesn't pay for itself,
Right.
right?
And that's the same thing we talked about before.
Yeah.
We just never did do it. And we would then support that. We would,
Financially support that.
Finance.
We would compensate that program. I'm just throwing out
we
ideas.
should get Republic in here to give us a option, yeah.
Is that without government subsidies, it won't work? Is that,
I'm not the expert in the field, but when we looked at it before, without somebody paying a little bit of money, it would not pay for itself.
I think that's the reason it's gone away most times is because it's gonna take some kind of subsidy to make it work.
Yeah, I agree. I just thought that in a community, if you could better your community by saying had a recycling program and you did recycle the paper and the glass to keep it out of the landfills, it
Mm-hmm.
could be kind of a cool thing. But, just an idea. I have more ideas.
So let's see if Republic can give us an option.
Yep.
We can look into that.
Call Robin and tell her to come tell us what it would take.
And let's just continue to keep on our, front of our mind, the walking trail that we eventually, one of these years, want to have around Keene.
Yeah.
We were gonna try to set a
Sidewalks.
meeting up with TxDOT to see the viability and what it would take to continue some of that.
Well,
like-
you could come to the luncheon and grab that guy.
Yes,
He's
see,
talking
presenting
Thursday.
yeah.
Well, why don't one of y'all ask him then? But connecting our current park to our existing walkway, either through the college in an agreement, or going all the way down to our paved street in front of the gymnasium. That was one thing we wanted to talk about. Another thing was how much money would it need to get the sidewalk from its current condition on Fourth Street on the east side of town to College Drive? Wasn't that something we talked about? Because you're not gonna rebuild that road, are you? Or are you gonna rebuild that road?
I think that
Eventually, it
is-
will need to be rebuilt.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's eventually
that is
like
one
it.
slated. Yeah, probably 5 years.
So do
How
you-
long?
Yeah, 5 years.
So do you not put a sidewalk there because the road's gonna be rebuilt in 5 years?
But it depends on the easements and stuff.
Right. If the sidewalk's more than a couple of feet behind the curb, then it probably wouldn't be affected, but if it's right up against the curb, then yes. Because those streets are gonna need all new curb and gutter, and maybe
Yeah.
even some storm drains.
So if we can put them far enough out, yeah, it wouldn't be.
So I guess the question is, how do I word it to see if we can move forward, to see what it costs to engineer to finish the sidewalk from,
We can get it, I get it,
You
I
wanna
got
talk
you,
to
yeah. We'll do that, so, yeah. We'll get a rough cost for the engineering for that, and their estimation of probable cost.
Just thinking about the homeowners, so, my opinion is the sidewalks are better off at the curb than 2 foot behind. You got a lot of grass that you gotta go over there and try to mow and edge and stuff, and if you can put it up against the curb.
How are the
then
other sidewalks we did down there? Are they at curb level or are they backed away?
Both.
The ones right by the school that they put in, running down Eastern are on the curb.
A lot of that has to do with utilities, power poles, existing trees
True.
people don't want removed, so.
Yeah. I guess it's just getting the ball rolling. What do you do when you have an idea like this? What's the first step in that? Is to have an engineer look at it and tell you your
Pick an
challenge?
engineer out there. Yeah. We could do that.
Yeah, how much street is, how much city easement is behind the curb? 10 foot?
And it varies. It varies from, depending on when those roads and piece of parcels were platted. So,
Down there around the school, that's probably the earliest plat.
right, and a lot of those, you know, it shows the property line going out to the middle of the street.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and on Fourth Street,
So those properties need to take care of the street then.
That's
Yeah.
what I keep telling them. This half is yours, and,
Be a bunch of toll booths out there.
right.
on Fourth Street, if you were to, at West Fourth Street, or from College Drive to Old Betsy Road, if you were to put it on the south side of the road, over half of that is probably owned, or maybe not half, is owned by the church down there. Remember what they
Good.
bought?
Chunk is,
A good chunk, let's say a good chunk is. So that might be an easy process on that side to put a sidewalk. So then it makes the problem even smaller if you think about it that way.
right.
So wouldn't it be great to have a sidewalk that went from the park all the way to the public school and then eventually the public school all the way around like we talked about?
It would.
So what do we gotta do to get the ball rolling?
Engineer.
We need direction, and something of that size is gonna have to be engineered because of the cost involved.
Yeah.
And usually you figure the engineer is gonna charge us 5% of the cost. But they handle everything. They handle the design, the staking out, the going out for bids, the contract documents. They handle all that.
We can get an estimate of probable cost though for free. I mean, they'll come out and look at it and say, you know, this project cost 1.2 million.
Yeah. And then along with that, the numbers, in the past, we talked about, remember the grant from the state? They have a grant that I think lets in July or August, and we were gonna try to work a grant writer in to do something. Where are we with that process?
So we have applied for a couple of grants, but I don't think there's a park.
This is specifically the park and recreation.
We did. We had some long conversations with our grant administrator that we're using on some CBDG grants right now.
Uh-huh.
And basically, we were almost to the point where we were gonna have to pay them $7,500, but we probably weren't gonna make all the deadlines. So we decided, all right, let's kind of go for some of these deadlines as far as doing like the survey in the paper to the public and all that good stuff. Kind of get our feet wet this year, and then next year, we'll apply for those grants. Those are dollar for dollar. We got some good ideas about if you can get donations from, like local businesses and/or 501c3s, it really helps your score kind of kick up in getting these grants. So we're doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff with them right now, but we kind of got to the point where they were like, all right, you need to pay us, but we're probably not going to get everything done in time to get them this year's grant.
So a like-kind grant might be an example if the church, all their land has said, we will give you 3 foot of easement and it's gonna be valued at this dollar amount. That would be a like-kind donation from a,
That could be part of it, yes, or it could be cash, it could be land, you know, like the university could say, hey, you can use this right away
Yeah.
or this area, so there's a lot of different ways, yes.
well, this is nothing against you, what I'm about to say, but we talk about this every year for 5 years. Every year, the person sitting in that chair says the same thing. Let's get our feet wet and next year we'll
Next
do
year
it. Let's
we'll
get our
do
feet
it.
wet and next year we'll do it.
If you look at it, there's almost somebody different sitting over here every time.
Yeah, well, you're
Lots of
sitting there right
time
now, so I
You
mean,
get to that point, well, I got 1 year, 5 months, and like 2 weeks
oh, don't make
before I
excuses.
retire.
Don't make
so
excuses. Anyway.
That's what makes it tough.
How
We did
much,
just get two out of 3 grants.
how much of the, if we were to take the sidewalk all the way from the school to the park, how much along Old Betsy would we really have to deal with TxDOT on?
I think it kind of depends on which side of the road. I know they have a pretty big right-of-way. That's something we can discuss with TxDOT when we meet with them. Because that would be awesome to go from like the gym where the crosswalk is and stay on that side of the street and go right to the park. That would be a good start. And then the same thing on this side of the street as well. We know they're already going to be repaving that starting next month pretty quick. We're just not sure where they're starting at 35, they're starting down at this end. And Mr. Ballard's already talked to him about redoing the crosswalk going across the street, putting flashing lights in the street, you know, and we may assist with that. As far as
The
finding
crosswalk
equipment.
at the university?
Right, that goes across to the Calicut Park, the duck pond. So,
It'd be better if we stayed on the east side of the road with it, because they got to cross to go over to the park, and then they got to cross somewhere back to get to our park.
right.
So, safety thing, if there's any way we could put it on the east side of the road, all the way down to Hillcrest, would be the best, in my opinion.
You friends with TxDOT?
Well, I'm their neighbor.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I like some of the guys over there. We can stand at the fence and talk sometimes.
So you talk to Ray a lot then, no?
No, I haven't seen old Ray in a while. I was trying to catch him yesterday evening when I was mowing there, but I think they kept him after school. He never did leave.
He's not as tall as the fence.
All right, anything else?
What's we had those other two items, B and C about, there was 3 items there that we discussed. Did we vote all 3 of
Yep.
those?
We've
While
voted all-
ago?
We've done all the voting.
Okay,
Just need a motion from you to adjourn.
so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Beeson, all in favor? Thank y'all.
Supposed to rain tomorrow, I guess. I need to mow today.